is
And
21 days enough to change your taste buds? Because, people have these food cravings, and I was wondering if you could talk about what is causing the food cravings.
yeah, it's 21 days gives you the necessary time you need to learn this program. It's like you're getting your PhD, and people need to have this is a unique learning
Mhm.
experience. And we're saying here that without this type of learning, it's very hard to succeed with permanent weight loss because there's so many things people have to know, not just about what to eat, but how to deal with their cravings, how to deal with their emotions, and how to deal with the obstacles to losing weight and keeping the weight off permanently.
Mhm.
So yes, you're right. 21 days is not necessarily enough to completely change your taste buds. That could take 3 to 6 months, but it gives them the knowledge, the expectation, and the continued support we give them ongoing after that to know that it's going to get better after the 21 days. But if you don't go through that first 21 days, is the most difficult part when you're dealing with the addictive withdrawal from food, and if you don't know how to interpret and appreciate what your body's doing for you, you're never going to succeed. So we're talking about now answering your question about food cravings is really going to answer why you need this information to succeed, right?
Yeah.
Carrie,
Yeah,
explain.
my dad's discoveries on the root cause of food addiction and why so many people can't lose weight no matter what they try are truly groundbreaking. Unless people study and understand these principles, as we keep saying, they simply just cannot overcome it. You have to understand your body inside and out, and most people don't want to dive that deep. So these lessons that he's been trying to, explain to people for so many years are just under-recognized, and they're the key to why people fail. So one of the things that I'm going to explain right now is the main cause of food cravings that my dad's been talking about for years and years. And the core driver of cravings is something we call the caloric rush, which is how many calories enter your bloodstream after you eat a meal. It's made up of two parts, the glycemic load and the lipemic load. The glycemic load refers to the rise in blood sugar after eating. So foods made with sugar or white flour cause a rapid surge. And the really important thing is that pizza, white flour, bread affect the body just like sugar does when we're talking about the glycemic load. And in contrast, foods like beans, other carbohydrates, release their calories very slowly over several hours. So that slow release means they don't trigger the same neurometabolic feedback loop in the brain that drives these cravings. And similarly, you have the lipemic load, which is the rapid flood of calories from animal fats or oils, which can deliver 200 to 400, even more calories into your bloodstream within minutes. And then by comparison, again, with the Nutritarian style of eating, fats from the whole nuts and seeds are absorbed much more slowly over several hours. So you can never experience that same quick rush. So why this? You're wondering probably why this fuels the addiction. And it's that sudden calorie spike that sends a powerful signal to the brain overstimulating dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter linked to pleasure and reward. So over time, this leads to dopamine resistance, where the brain's dopamine receptors just become less responsive, and your brain gets used to needing more stimulation to feel good. So the limbic system in the brain is the emotional center of the brain. It becomes desensitized and creates a cue-driven craving cycle, which means you start wanting a cookie because you see it or you smell it, but not because you're hungry. So the brain here learns that high calorie, fast entry foods feels rewarding, and you have that creation of tolerance and withdrawal, just like alcohol or drug addiction, that leads to these compulsive eating behaviors and why you feel off when you stop. So the next thing that is I want to explain here is the concept of being hangry. When people feel when they first transition off of addictive foods, or even when they're still eating addictive foods, they feel fatigued, irritable, or unwell, just like someone detoxing from a drug when they're not intaking that caloric rush. And once the body adapts to a nutrient-rich, slow absorption diet, the symptoms disappear and real hunger symptoms return, but you can't get there until you're working towards it. And that's why with this detox, having the tools is so necessary, because you have to overcome something that's happening in your brain. And we're going to be teaching people how to learn what true biological hunger is. And the reason that people have these symptoms of fatigue, irritability, and just not feeling well when they're not eating is because of the liver. The liver's primary job is to detoxify the body. But when you're eating, so the liver operates in two phases. You have an anabolic phase, which is when you're eating, and a catabolic phase when you're not eating. When you're eating, your body's focusing on building and storing. So it's converting, all the food that you're intaking into storage products like glycogen and fat, and you're not detoxing in that process. But when you stop eating, your body switches into the catabolic phase, and that's when it starts breaking down stored materials, removing waste, and truly detoxifying. So in an unhealthy body, that catabolic phase does not feel good. You feel the shakiness, the irritability, the brain fog when you haven't eaten in a few hours. So people interpret those sensations, and even in medical textbooks, they interpret those sensations as hunger and what we call hangry. But that's not true hunger. It's withdrawal symptoms. And it's one of the reason that food addiction is so powerful, because when people feel these symptoms, they try to just mask them away with eating. And that just causes the cycle to start again.
Right. It sounds complicated, but these things overlap and they're intertwined like fibers of a cloth. There's a lot of this biochemistry, neurochemistry, and human physiology that goes on to make it very difficult for people to eat healthy and to feel comfortable with a lower caloric load. Unless they understand the way the body works, and unless they start to eat foods that can undo the damage to their neurolimbic and mesenteric, the metabolic system. In other words, their gut is off, their system, the neural signals of the brain is off, and the brain is messed up too. It's wired now abnormally. So we can help rewire the brain, and we can help remove the detox withdrawal symptoms. We can help make them feel better so they're no longer craving. And it all has to do that, which takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with the right eating, getting the right nutrients into the body, and getting the right toxins out of the body, so they don't feel like this drive to overeat is too overwhelmingly powerful. So we combine this weight loss detox means fuel the body with nutrients, remove the waste from the tissues, get a healthier body and immune system, and we will show you will start to be more instinctually connected to the right amount of calories and feel that dieting is no longer so difficult. So it's the way the body, so what we teach is needed for many, many people to feel comfortable losing weight without feeling like this is so difficult, requires so much willpower, so much struggle, and so much discomfort. You have to know what's going on, and know how to solve it.
And learning the science of why that's going on, I also think helps people, because they're not thinking to themselves, like, something's so wrong with me, I can't do this. It's not for me. They're learning that it's normal. It's normal to feel this way. And that's what helps them. And that's why the learning is so important.
Yeah.